Hey guys, it's time to go diving. This is Matt Myers. I'm the owner and operator of Flippers Diving here in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm going to take you along on a dive today. Something a little bit different, maybe a lot bit different than what we traditionally have been doing offshore Jacksonville and St. Augustine. uh,
And drop it.
pretty epic dive that we're about to share with you here. Definitely had some unexpected circumstances, but I'm gonna share all that with you as we go through the video. So stay tuned. Also, by the way, I'm giving away a black tip DPV. That's right, black tip scooters. You gotta hang out, watch the video. You're gonna find the secret clue a little later in the video, and somebody's gonna get to take that black tip DPV. So we'll circle back to that, guys. So what are we doing? We are headed out to harvest lionfish, but maybe not in a traditional method. We're using closed circuit rebreathers, and specifically both myself and my dive buddy are on the DiveSoft Liberty back mountain unit and sort of in a heavy configuration. So we've got all of our bailout strapped on our backs. And we're headed to Red Snapper Sink. So for those of you who don't know where that is, it is a giant deep sinkhole offshore St. Augustine, Florida. It's actually about in the middle between St. Augustine and Palm Coast. And if you were to head out of the St. Augustine Inlet, it's about 35 miles, call it roughly south, that sinkhole. So in this area, the bottom of the ocean, the sand is at about 120, give or take. In this sinkhole, you hit the edge of it, and it's a sheer drop off down to 380 feet. It's a very deep sinkhole. Not a lot of people go there. A lot of people fish it, but very few people dive it just because of the depth. You're already at 120 before you're even seeing the sinkhole, and then if you want to drop down in it, you're at 130, 140 or beyond, and your bottom time is next to nothing. So you really don't get a lot of people going there. The reason we went there is a few weeks prior, we were told there was some mutton snapper that were schooling out there, and we said, hey, let's go dive it. We were on single tanks, recreational setup, and we decided to do a fun dive. So here we are at the ledge. All right, but when we dove it previously, there's some CCR talk for you. We didn't have a lot of bottom time, and we noticed there was a lot of lionfish. And we had heard from people previously that this place is covered in lionfish. And you got my attention because I am an avid lionfish hunter and commercial lionfish spearfisherman. So I decided let's put together a dive where we can leverage our rebreathers and really maximize dive. So I'll try to pause so you guys can hear what's going on each time we have some rebreather chit chatter going on. But anyway, our dive plan was to go to Red Snapper Sink, hit a maximum depth of 200 feet, and we were planning to spend about 30 minutes between 200 to 180, another 30 minutes between 180 to 160, and then another 30 minutes between 160 to 130, and that should leave us with a decompression schedule of about 90 minutes. You can see right now we're just at the lip. I'm waiting for my dive buddy to join me, securing an extra spear that we left there. So we're squared away. We've got our grapple hook, descent line or ascent line in place. We've got a spare bottle of oxygen that's getting clipped off there. We've got a spare spear, and we're dropping down to our maximum depth. Now, we had a plan as to how this harvest was going to go, and I'll walk you through that here in just a moment. You can see right here, I've already got 14 minutes of decompression required. And there's a reason I sound like Donald Duck. We're on helium, so I was breathing a roughly 40% helium mixture, so it really makes your voice super high pitched. But thankfully, the rebreathers, we can kind of mumble talk through our loop and be able to communicate a little bit, or at least pick it up on the video. So our plan was to drop down to 200 feet. We're along the edge, just imagine pretty much a perfect circle. And my dive buddy and I are splitting. We're both on DPVs, and we're gonna start working our way around the edge, shooting fish. Each of us had 2 large commercial-sized lionfish containers. The one I'm holding right now is a big zookeeper with commercial bag on it. And my second one that's clipped off behind me is a lionfish locker from Aquatic Hunt. Right here, we're already at 27 minutes of required decompression, right? We're only 15, 20 minutes into the dive. But we're carrying these 2 containers and working our way around. We kind of sped it up here because it's a pretty long video. And the goal was fill a container, shoot it to the surface, start filling your second container, and at the surface, they would empty out that bag, clip it to a weight, send it back down the anchor line, we'd scooter back over, pick it up. Unfortunately, at this depth, we weren't seeing a ton. A few big ones here or there. So I pulled the scooter out and decided to go ahead and let that carry me along the wall. So what we found was the concentration of lionfish was really between about 160 to 130 feet. That's where you saw these little shallow ledges, but covered in bait fish, which obviously is a food source for them. And you can see them just in the video, right? There's tons of little bait fish swimming back and forth up and down. There's tons of fish coming in and out of the sink. You got amberjack and red snapper and mangrove snapper. There's some big Goliaths moving back and forth, all kinds of marine life moving in and out of here. So at this point, we're on opposite sides of the sink. We're working our way around that circle towards each other, filling these containers. And unfortunately, because we spent so much time, or that first 20, 25 minutes down deep, we're really penalized heavily from a decompression standpoint. But as we got shallower, as you're seeing here in the 160 range, we're starting to stack up some big fish, right? They're stacked, they're just all along the ledge. So we kind of go between 160 to 150, kind of up and down, varying about a 20-foot range. And essentially, you're on a solo dive. Because my buddy can't help me, he's on the other side, and I'm over here doing my thing. Unfortunately, we do end up reconnecting a little bit later on in the dive. Now, it was a really incredible experience. I mean, we loaded up lionfish, and we ended up with over 100 pounds cumulatively between the 2 of us on this dive. Had we stayed shallower, we probably could have doubled. So, Bruce is getting clipped off because he's sort of in the way. And that's a little peek under the tent into what happened on this dive. Yep, Bruce didn't make it back. So $2,000 DPV somewhere at the bottom of Red Snapper Sink, which leads us to the point of the video. We're giving away a free DPV. Anybody that wants to go out there and pick it up, you are welcome to have it. It is resting somewhere between 140 and 380. you guys want to do a little bit of a big dive, you're welcome to go out there. Free DPV. You heard me say it here. Have it. At this point, I didn't know that Bruce had come unclipped, or at what point he came unclipped. That was the last point where I saw a clip off that DPV. That was the last point that I saw him. He was clipped off to the rack on my rebreather cage behind me, and didn't see him. Don't know when he dropped. So here we've finished the first container. We're gonna go ahead and get a lift bag inflated and deploy this thing to the surface so that our surface support team can dump the fish and send that bag back on down the grapple hook. So that grapple hook is basically a big buoy at the surface with a spool. Has about like a 1/2-inch anchor line running all the way down about 150 feet, and a length of 15 foot of chain and a grapple hook. So basically it caught the end of the leg and gave us a concrete descent and ascent. So whether it was narcosis playing a role, maybe boredom, maybe just having a whole lot of fun, at least for me on CCR, I tend to talk to myself a lot while I'm diving. I might sing songs or whatever. So unfortunately, you guys get to listen to that throughout the video. Apologies, my camera angle was slightly off, so you don't get the best. You don't get the best angle of exactly what I'm seeing. I can't imagine I'm actually experiencing too much nitrogen narcosis. I'm on 40% helium at this point. I've got a pretty clear head, so I guess I'm just You can see all the other than the lionfish. See all these marine species, right? Look at all these. Got amberjack right there, indigo, mangrove snapper coming up. They kind of come up and feed and go back down to the depths. It's really amazing to watch. Really cool sight. Wish it was shallower, but I guess that's what kind of creates the allure of this unique place. We had about 40 foot of visibility on the dive, so it wasn't bad. A little greeny in there, as you can see from the video, but still plenty of visibility to do what we were doing and really be able to take in this site. Would love to see it on a beautiful day. And you know, since Bruce is resting at peace at the bottom, I think we may end up needing to go back. We've actually started talking about putting that dive together, so hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Subscribe to the channel. We are going to head back to Red Snapper Sink. There's my official announcement. We're going to head back there and see if we can locate that DPV at a max depth of 380 feet. And oh, by the way, we're going to have to shoot some lionfish while we're down there. We did have a little bit of another twist that came on this dive. And I'll hold on for just a minute before I share it with you, but it happened right towards the end. So at this point, I've got 93 minutes of decompression. I've been underwater just shy of an hour. Now, part of the problem was I'm still on helium and I'm getting penalized for that. If I were to stay on helium the remainder of the dive, including all my decompression, it would be much longer than it needs to be. So at a certain point here before ascending, I will actually unplug from my helium source, plug into just regular compressed air, 21%, indicate that on my computer, and it massively reduces my decompression obligation. right? Helium, helpful for the brain and narcosis, but man, from a decompression penalty, it is not your friend. So that's one of the last things I do when we get to that anchor line before ascending is switch those gases so that I can minimize that decompression time. We're really looking like straight down, right? Coming up to the grapple hook, you can see there's my container I had sent up. There's our oxygen bottle. For whatever reason, they have plummeted over the edge and are making their way to the bottom. It was a really good thing that I came along at this time to say, well, what's going on? Originally, this stuff was up in the sand, right? So swim down, grab them. I'm going to guess we're probably 140, 150 here. Try to get this equipment. Now we've got an oxygen bottle. We've got the hardware. We've got a 6-pound lead weight. We've got an empty zookeeper. I've got my lionfish locker, which at this point is completely loaded. So there's a lot going on here, right? A lot of multitasking going on. And I'm at the point where I'm looking at my computer and thinking, man, I've got 90 minutes of decompression. I don't have time to shoot any more fish or fill any more containers, so it's time to end this dive. So as part of our plan was we would stick a note from our notebook in the lionfish container, and it was an indication to the guys on the surface that once we sent all that stuff up, the dive was over and we'd start our decompression schedule. But what we didn't know was all of our anchor line, all of our grapple line had ended up on the bottom. Just before I came to it, that spool that was at the surface broke and ended up the bottom. So remember back earlier in the video, there it was. I threw that orange spool with all the line on it, it snapped off. So there's a problem, right? We're on the bottom. We're really not making many bubbles for the boat to be able to track. They're relying on that surface marker for us to know where we're at. So we have a choice. We can clean this stuff up and try to redeploy that line, or we can go back to SMBs and spools, and at that point we're drifting separately. So we chose to try to get this anchor line squared away. See that spool here in a second. Back up at buoy. But what we ended up doing was getting some lift bags, shooting it up, and then reestablishing that anchor line. So that definitely made for an interesting end to the dive. At this point, we're at 87 minutes. We got a little over an hour and a half decompression remaining, and thankfully, it all went uneventful. The only loss here was Bruce, rest his soul, sitting at the bottom. Hopefully be recovered one day, either by one of you guys. If you don't get it, we're going to go back and get it. If you do get it, by the way, shoot me a message, leave a comment, whatever. I want to know what happened to that DPV. But if you get it, it's yours. I really appreciate you guys coming along for this ride. This was a really exciting dive for us. And we are going back. It'll be about a month from now, but we're going to go back. We're going to attempt to recover that DPV. I want to give a shout out to Badfish Slayers. They're the ones making the commercial bags for the lionfish lockers. We had 2 of them on this dive, and they are a freaking incredible piece of equipment for commercially harvesting lionfish. So come check us out, guys. flippersdiving.com. Love to meet and talk with all of you. Please subscribe to the channel.